the starting point really was to retain as much of the existing building as we possibly could, look to refurbish it with a sort of conservation-led approach, and then look what we could do with the rest of the building where the auditorium was taken down. The massing decisions were all actually quite simple because we had these fantastic vistas over the water of Leith, which happened to be west-facing, so we immediately started looking at the big long balconies which tied into the kind of Art Deco, streamlined modern aesthetic, which is sort of really what sort of led the design. And then on the other side, we had this courtyard, little walled garden, I guess, a little kind of heat sink, sort of southeast facing. We've tried to get, as many main door access flats off that as we possibly could to sort of keep it active and sort of encourage a kind of community. And also, most of the flats have a balcony on the sort of west facing side and the east facing side, which is unusual. There was also the addition of the screens. They had a little bit of privacy, a little bit of sun shading as well, and just using sort of kind of contrasting colours. Streamlined Modern was known for its kind of earthy tones, but still contrasting kind of dark and light. And then, using the kind of corrugated metal to sort of nod to both the sort of industrial aesthetic of Streamlined Modern, but also the sort of industrial aesthetic of the previous building and Leith. So lots of it sort of all kind of hung together quite nicely.
Simon Square is a really tight site. It's flanked by a tenement on one side and an 80s almost cottage-like flat building that wraps around the other two sides. So by chamfering the form, we hope we've dealt with that. We've addressed the overlooking. We've decided that we would go for a brick building and to then address the planning constraints, make it look more monolithic with this lime Leicester coat over the top. While we've got loads of chamfered corners and brickwork might look quite messy, the Leicester coat was then quite forgiving in that it could cover over all of that. We also reduced the boundary wall by about a metre. There was the option to whitewash the CLT for the owners and no one's gone for it. And they all really like the warmth it gives off. How it feels, how it sounds, how it smells is quite a big thing as well. It does have enormous health benefits in that it has properties of calming and reducing heart rates. It's really warm. We've exceeded the acoustic requirements by 6 decibels, which we're really happy with. And the other thing I really like is the blind boxes, which are recessed up into the CLT, so you can hide all of the gubbins away. And we had to work quite hard to make that work structurally because it's round the window, but we've managed it, so that was good.
The house that presents itself on arrival is a single-storey house. The double-storey element is a kind of surprise a little bit later. The thing I like most about the house is the intimacy of the living room space. It turns its back on the north, but it opens to the south and to the very sunny sheltered patio. Actually, from the ground floor you get the view of the law as well because of the twisting of the plot and the orientation and the glass wall. The brief was for a 4-bedroom family house, but one that would largely be only occupied by the two of them, and that's been key in the layout of the bedroom wing, the foot of the stair being right at the beginning of the entrance to that wing so that you're not walking past a lot of empty rooms, with the master bedroom on the upstairs level with the view to Berwick Law, a balcony.
The shadows that you get from the way that the ceilings have been designed and the slants are just brilliant. With the paint colours too, the wall colours.
Just getting that green note through the house has been really important and helps it settle in the garden as well, doesn't it?
We're now at the stage where we're turning our attention more to the garden and the development of the environment around the house and, really getting to the point where we can take that on, and there's a lot more to do there.
The garden is an absolute joy.